Hi, I'm Bob Doyle. You may have seen me in the movie The Secret or be familiar with me from my Wealth Beyond Reason program, which is also all about the law of attraction. What I'm here to actually talk about today doesn't have anything to do specifically with either one of those programs. It's more a question that comes up constantly from people when they start learning about the law of attraction and when they start hearing that you're attracting all aspects of your experience. One of the most common objections is, well, what about when bad things happen to people who they clearly couldn't have attracted it? They bring up the inevitable 9/11. They bring up, children born with terminal illnesses and all of these different things, civilizations in hunger and so on and so forth, and all of these things. And they want to point to those bad things and say, look, those people didn't attract those things. What everybody needs to realize is that the law of attraction is not just about attracting on purpose. Okay? This isn't some self-development tool that somebody threw together and say, oh, let's package this up and say that you can use this to get what you want. And we'll say like attracts like, and then that's it. That's not it. It is a much bigger physical law than that. It can't be packaged up in a self-help thing. The thing is that we're attracting all the time, consciously and unconsciously. Most of what we experience in our everyday life is unconscious attraction. And although it's beyond the scope of this particular video to get into this, but we're assembling every aspect of our reality through our interpretation of the energy that is the universe around us, through our senses and so on. So everything that we're experiencing is a result of our shaping what the energy that we've attracted into our experience. And how do we attract that energy? Well, we are in resonance with it. Okay, it doesn't mean that we're consciously saying, I want this and this and the light outside, I want that tree over there. We're not doing that thing. We're attracting most of what we're doing by default. So how does that happen? Well, we attract things into our life by being in vibrational resonance with them. And we take on resonance from our environment, in the most part, if we're not conscious that we can do whatever we want to with our resonance. So when we're born, we learn much of what our vibration, our overall predominant vibration is shaped very much by our environment, our parents, and the things that we are around every single day. We learn how to interpret our reality, we construct our belief systems, we build our various areas of resistance. Our fundamental thoughts about money and wealth and relationships and all of these things are shaped from a very early age. And because we take them on, we have an emotional response to all of these things that we're experiencing, and they shape our vibration. And we are now in resonance with things that are in alignment with those thoughts and beliefs. We didn't do that consciously. It just happened as a result of who we are and where we were placed, how we started our lives. And so we're in vibrational resonance now with things that are going to support all of those belief systems. And if you are, for example, born in a country that is starving, that's having issues with food or economy or whatever, and you grow up and that's how you experience reality, your vibrational match will be that, because you don't know any different. To you it is reality that where I live there's no food. And you take that, you learn that at a very early age because your parents are telling you this and all of that, and they've got all this evidence that supports it, but it's because this vibration continues. It's passed on from generation to generation to generation. It's not their fault, and this is very key to know, that just because we're saying we attract every part of your experience, we are not saying that a person to whom a bad thing happens is at fault at all. Chances are it was a completely unconscious act. I mean, they didn't know. And that's where we get into this. It's like, well, what the law of attraction is, it's got all these stipulations. Look, it just is what it is. You attract what you're in vibrational resonance with, period. It's not a good or bad thing. The gift that we have as human beings is that if we know that we have this kind of ability to consciously shift our vibration so that we can be in alignment with things that we really truly want in our lives, if we don't know that, we're just going to keep coasting along, attracting more of the same things, and we're going to be in resonance with all sorts of things, including things like disease and tragedy and all of these other things. I mean, there's the tricky part of trying to explain this is that there is no quick, simple little tie it up in a neat bow. Because we can't just look at an event that happens, a catastrophic event, and say, why did it happen to that person or those people? Certainly they didn't attract it. Well, they were in alignment with it. And again, I know that is harsh for some people to hear, but it doesn't mean anything, good or bad. It just means that they were there for whatever reason. They didn't know any better, and that happened. There's no better answer. You know, you can't, no one from the outside could look into any person's life who was affected by a tragedy and know exactly what was going on vibrationally. There's too much going on inside that person. It's not a good or bad stuff that's going on, it just is. It's how they were shaped. And for whatever reason, they were in alignment with this event. It doesn't mean they wrote it down on a list or made a vision board about it or visualized about it or meditated on it happening. It happened by default. And that's why it's so important, that's why it's so key to really hear what we're saying about the law of attraction. Because if you can really get it and see how it's affected your life and continues to affect your life, if you can really get it and then understand that you can truly change your experience of reality by creating a different vision and a different vibration, basically, so that you can attract different things and learn how to release that resistance that I talked about in another video that acts like a force field against you attracting them. While there's a lot that's going to happen in your life that you don't, quote unquote, have any control over because you attracted it by default, there is so much that you can start doing right now that would minimize something like that happening. Okay, and again, this is not a conscious thing. It's going on. That's why you don't, when a person talks about a sick child or a sick baby or whatever, it's not that the baby is consciously attracting whatever's wrong with it. It's in vibrational resonance with it for whatever reason. And it's not necessarily the quote-unquote fault of the parents or anything. It just is what it is. Now, what do you do with that from that point on? What are the choices you're going to make? And again, the law of attraction isn't about being fair or unfair or good or bad. It just is what it is. It's about how energy attracts. And if we can just say, well, this is how I'd like to utilize this knowledge and create a vision for ourselves that is exciting for us to live into and that brings us joy, that's why we're teaching this. You know, again, it's not a personal development tool. It is a law of the universe that you do have some ability to interact with to change your experience. And the more that you can get that, and the more that you can learn about it and understand the science of it, I mean, that's the whole reason the Wealth Beyond Reason program exists, is that people are not going to just take this on face value. They must understand, what are you talking about? Why? What is the science behind this? Can you prove it? That type of thing. And so that's why I do what I do. But I definitely wanted to address this topic because obviously it gets asked all the time, and while it's probably not the most complete explanation I could give, for the purposes of this video, I hope that it's at least got you thinking, well, okay, maybe there is a bigger picture to this. Okay, so again, I appreciate you watching, and you can share this with whomever you'd like to. Thank you very much.